Yat everyone, she Darrah Blackwater Yenishia, Besh Bachahi Nishle, Dod Sena Jenny Bashishin, Ado Besh Bachahi Dashiche, Ado Tachvini Dashinali. My name is Darrah Blackwater, and as many of you know, I am a spectrum sovereignty advocate. This is something that I've been passionate about, writing about, talking about, and working on for years now, and I am beyond excited that we are finally having this conversation in an organized way and really talking about the importance of spectrum licenses and spectrum ownership and spectrum access in Indigenous communities. And much of this came from the Internet Connectivity Summit that we just had in Winnipeg a couple weeks ago. And that really acted as a springboard for us to organize and put forth a concerted effort to let our voices be heard about how important it is for Indigenous communities to be able to access spectrum. So I hope that most of you already know a little bit about how important it is. And if you're just kind of new to this and wondering what this is, spectrum is what lets a wireless connection happen. You can think about it as the water in a river that you put a message in a bottle in the river and it's carrying that message from point A to point B. So this is an extremely valuable resource, and in my way I characterize it as a natural resource. So you can think about it as something that has been on the land forever, since time immemorial, and it's something that we are really needing in Indigenous communities for connectivity purposes. Everything from radio to broadband to cell service. And this is important, as you can imagine, for emergency services, for language revitalization, education, workforce development, economic development. And a lot of this, especially in rural communities, comes down to whether or not you have the spectrum that will allow you to set up a wireless network or not. So we have a really important opportunity here where the Canadian government is actually calling for comments about how they're going to manage spectrum in Canada for years. And so looking forward, we really want to let our voices be heard about why this is so important, why right now is the time for the Canadian government to really acknowledge that this is something that we really need. This is something that Indigenous communities really need, and that historically we have not been able to access this. I'm speaking from policy in America, and I've been so educated and so lucky to learn so much about what's happening in Canada, and they're very similar. And so, this is such an amazing opportunity for these voices to get heard on the north side of the border. So I hope that over the next hour or so, you can be led in the great direction that Mark and Greg are going to take you. They are such great advocates on this. They know so much about it. So I want to really encourage you that if you have questions, if there's something you don't understand, if there's something that you would like explained in a different way or a better way, please speak up and let them know what you need, because we really want everyone to walk away with an understanding of how you can put your voice into this movement and put your voice into these comments in a way that feels right to you, in a way that feels useful, and in a way that is collective, so that we can all put forward our different ideas and our different voices in a way that, becomes a movement for spectrum sovereignty, for spectrum access, and for radio and cell service and broadband in these rural Indigenous communities, all Indigenous communities, but especially rural as well. Now is the moment, and I am so excited that we are coming together about this. I'm so excited you're here. I'm so excited this conversation is happening. I'm sorry I can't be there with you in person, but I have no doubt that this is heading in the right direction, and I am so thankful for your presence, for your thought, for your comments that you will hopefully submit. And with that, I will just toss it back over to Mark and Greg, and thank you all so much again. Talk to you soon.